Hi guys, it is the 21st of October, so Halloween is in 10 days. If you've followed me over the last couple of years, you will know that I have been turning my front garden into an abandoned haunted fairground. And I have big plans for this year, and it is now the 21st of October and none of them have happened yet. One of them is to make a kind of, the flat rides that are like an octopus. They are actually called an octopus flat ride. If I can find a copyright-free image, I'll pop one on the screen. I want to make one, an octopus ride, out of pipe lagging, a bin, some chicken wire and some silicone. So you would be forgiven at this point for thinking, has Mary ever seen an octopus? Because I know this doesn't look very octopusy right now. But my plan originally was to find like a large ball of some kind and mould the chicken wire around it and have this as the base. But when I was in the garage before, I realised that our old hot tub filter, we call this the egg because it's egg shaped, something like that on top of this that's lightweight. It has to be lightweight and easy to store. That I think would work. So I brought, it's filthy because we've been using it for spares for 5 years, so don't judge me on the state of that. We don't use it for anything other than what's inside. The bin is quite small at the bottom, and I figured that would give you that tapered octopus. So there'll be a kind of octopus shaped body and it needs to be lightweight, so 2 pieces. So the bin I can fill with gravel to give it some traction because it's going on a gravel drive where it won't be easy to stake it into the ground. We get a lot of wind in the UK in October. So something made out of pipe lagging and chicken wire is going to end up the other end of the village within no time. So my plan is to mould the chicken wire around the egg, taper it into a shape that can sit inside the bin, lock on where the handles are, and then that will be the basic shape. And on top of that, I'm going to put fabric. Tomorrow I'm going to have a look through some charity shops to see if I can find some just cheap second-hand bedding rather than buying new fabric just to paint. So I can paint the octopus, and the whole point of my abandoned fairground is everything's weathered and looks like the paint's coming off, so I can do a poor job of painting it and it'll actually look legit. The pipe lagging, my idea for this was to have, I don't have room on the drive probably for 8 legs, but 4 of the legs, what I was going to do is cut these in half, put a bevel so that when you stick them together they would essentially end up like that. So coming out from there, this will be like 1 tentacle of the octopus. Maybe I will have room for 8. Bevel that end so it can in some way attach to the chicken wire in the bin, and then have those legs coming out. And on the end of here will be some kind of way of carrying a doll, one of my zombie dolls. I've not got as far as that part yet. I need an octopus before I worry about where the dolls are going to sit. If nothing else, it can just be a random octopus in my garden. So that's my plan really. So to make the suckers on the tentacles, I was watching a video recently where somebody was modelling an octopus, and she just put little blobs of clay on and then used a rounded tool to push into them, and it made those perfect little cups. So I got some silicone mastic, and once I've got the legs in a kind of octopus shape, I know that octopus tentacles tend to be rounded rather than angled, but I've just got to work with what I have, and trying to put a wire core through this and bending it's just not going to work. I tried it with my zombie clown skeleton thing a couple of years ago. So yeah, I'm going to bevel those. Once they're in octopus leg shapes, I'm going to go along wherever octopuses have tentacle suckers, put blobs of this, push them in to make little cups, and once they're dry, paint the whole lot. And again, because of the colour of this, anything that shows through is just going to look like primed woodwork that has now faded and started to peel. So I can do a really slapdash job of painting this and it will actually look really legit. So am I going to get this done in time? I have no idea. We are away for 2 days at the weekend, so I've also got actual job to do. But I think I can do this. I also wanted to build a bit of a Ferris wheel. I don't think Ferris wheel's happening in 2024, honestly. I'm usually making these props from August onwards and I just haven't had time to do that. So this is going to be really rushed. I will film what I can. I can't promise a step-by-step tutorial here because I don't have a lot of time and I just need to get this thing made. So I wanted to do the introduction and I will try to record different parts of it so you can kind of see the madness come to life. And if this really doesn't work, you'll never see this intro because I won't share the video. So yeah, keeping it real, keeping it real. So yeah, all I can do is just get started. First thing I'm going to do is figure out what bevel I need the legs to be, and I'm going to bevel the other end and figure out how that will attach to the bin and the egg and stuff like that. But I'm going to figure out that angle first because the sooner I can get these long pieces cut, the less room they're taking up, and I can get the contact cement on those and get them going. Okay, right, I've never needed luck more than I do right now to get this finished in time for Halloween, so please wish me luck, and yeah, I really hope I can pull this off. So to figure out this bevel, I used the scientific method of hacking chunks off until it was the angle that I wanted. Turns out 45 degrees for the legs, so cutting it like that, they're going to stick together sort of like that. And then the angle that they're pointing up will be determined by the bevel that I put on it when I'm attaching it to the body. So I'm cutting them in half first and then putting the 45-degree bevel on after that. Cutting them at ½ metre. You can just use a kitchen knife for this if it's sharp. This is partly sharp in places, not all of the places, but it does go through. You can use a craft blade as well, but a kitchen knife works beautifully. I'm going to use this one. I would usually have meticulously planned all of these steps by now, but I am so winging it right now, it's not even funny. Right, I'm just going to put this bevel on just by copying what's already here. It's just easier to copy what I've already got that works. This would make a really good spider. If you wanted to make a giant spider, you could do it this way and have the angled legs and just paint everything black and make a big body to go with it. As awesome as it would be to have a giant spider on my drive, as an arachnophobe, I can't do it to people. I can't do it to me, I can't do it to people. So I do have some small spiders in my Halloween display. Freaks me out every year. So part of my brain is like, make a spider, but also we have a lot of young children who come along and I can't have a life-size, well, giant spider for them to walk past. There'll be more sweets left for us after Halloween if that happens, but yeah, I can't do the spider thing. I've got my heart set on the octopus anyway, so I'm going to see if I can find my contact cement and glue those together outside with gloves on, because that stuff is horrendous to get off your hands and it smells awful, so I don't want to use it indoors. And once I've done that, I may see if I can get the mastic done today as well so that it can be drying, because you need that to be fully cured first. I don't know. I'm kind of excited to get on with the body, so I'm going to glue those together with contact cement because it holds it stronger than hot glue. Right, how are things going? Well, my contact cement had already cemented, so I couldn't use that. I had some other glue that I thought would work. Kind of worked, kind of didn't, so I've had to brace all these joints with fibre masking tape stuff. And then I was halfway through doing that and I suddenly thought, wait a minute, I've got 6 legs and octopuses have 8. One of the main features of an octopus is the oct, which is 8. So this is going to be a Temu octopus unless I go and buy more of those. So I might have some spare lagging in the loft, but I'm pretty sure I only have 1 length. But anyway, that's that. I have been moulding 2 layers of this galvanised chicken wire around the egg, and I've been going around and pinching it with wire. So it's now sort of forming the rounded shape at the top. I'm now running into difficulties because of all the outlet pipes here, so I need to take this off and start tapering it in. I did get some galvanised wire out for making an armature. I can't even unwrap it. Like, I don't know what you're supposed to use to get this stuff off. I literally cannot budge it at all, so I'm not using that. But this is actually okay on its own. So this needs to come off. Very sharp on the ends, so be careful of that. Nobody's going to make an octopus for their garden, let's be real, but if you did want to make an octopus and you use chicken wire, just be really careful of the ends. So this now has to kind of pinch in even more, so I'm kind of folding it in like I would with fabric and then using wire to hold it together, but I suspect I'm going to have to cut some off because I don't think I'm going to get all of this bunched in, but I want to taper it in so that it will ultimately sort of sit in here, sort of like that, and then that's all going to be covered anyway. So yeah, I'm starting to look like an octopus in my brain. This looks nothing like an octopus right now, but in my brain I can see how the octopus is going to work. I'm happy that this wire's a nightmare because it's so stiff, but the good part of that is that it's like this. As soon as I can taper that in so that it sits in the bin, I will have clips so that I can clip that onto the bin. And the bin, as I said, will have gravel in it so it's weighed down. I've not figured out how I'm going to get the legs on yet. I was thinking about gluing washers onto here and bolting them, but I don't know. Find some way of drilling holes here so that I can attach the legs. Once I make more and give it 8 legs. I could give it 4 legs that are sticking up and make 4 tentacles that are hanging down, but that's going to be more work, quite honestly, than just buying more of this. Okay, we're taking shape. We're taking shape. Right, I need some dinner. I've had enough fighting with that for a minute. Okay, I found some more pipe lagging in the loft. I remember now why I ordered 6, because I knew that I had a couple of pieces in the loft. One was a bit short, but that's okay. So I've put a couple of these in some shoes so you can kind of get the idea. This would make a really good spider with these angles, but I'm going to stick with octopus. So you can see I've got kind of like a hot air balloon / light bulb shape now with the wire. And I've managed not to stab myself too many times. Very sharp. I've tried to tuck as many of the ends in as possible. So that now sits nicely in my bin. So I'll be able to pin that down. So that's good. What I haven't figured out yet is how the hell I'm going to attach these legs. So over dinner, Mark and I were having a chat about some ideas. So yeah, there's a couple of different things that we could do. So I'm going to think about that. And I need to think about the cars that my dolls, well, I don't really have that many very small dolls that would fit in this. And to be honest, these aren't going to take a lot of weight anyway. So I want to make some little carriages, very similar to the ones that I made for my swings ride, where I did a semicircle but with kind of like a back on it essentially. And if I just have some decaying seats hanging, like little gondolas hanging on the ends. I think real octopus rides quite often have a little triplet of 3 cars on the end of each octopus arm. Some of them have tentacles and then a separate thing with cars on, so they vary a little bit in design. But I don't have space or time to put 3 on the end of these arms, and you know, there's nothing running through the core of this. This is purely pipe lagging or pool noodle type stuff, so it can't take a lot of weight. I did find in the loft a doll that I can turn into a zombie. So a doll car about that size is probably perfect. So I'll dig out my craft foam and kind of figure out what size. Yeah, Mono's very interested. Hey Bean, Mono Munchkin. Hey Mono. What? Hello. So I'm gonna have a look at my craft foam and probably call it a night tonight. I'm still recovering from a brutal ear infection. I really should be in bed by now. But I'll have a quick look at my craft foam first and maybe just cut some of the gondolas out, but pretty happy with that progress. But yeah, the silicone, I think putting the little suction cups on will make this look more octopus, especially once you get the googly eyes on. I'm very happy with the progress so far, so I will update you tomorrow. Okay, still today, it's not tomorrow. Quick update, I just quickly whipped up some little seats. So very crude, they look completely gash, but they'll do. I've glued the kind of L-shaped, more substantial craft foam to try to just help carry the load. This is very thin craft foam, and then that will just basically hang from there. So I'm not doing anything about the hanging until I know exactly how the legs are going to go on, or the tentacles I should say. So I've made those. I will paint them and weather them so that they look old and rusty, like I did with my swings ride. It was really good fun to do. I'm just going to stipple grey all over it, probably. Maybe just use a toothbrush and some green and some rust possibly running down these stems. So yeah, I'll probably do that with them. And graffiti, it always looks good with graffiti on. So I'm not going to paint them now, I'm going to paint them when I do the tentacles. Right, tonight is done. I'm definitely overdue going to bed and taking my antibiotics. So I'm going to call it a day now for sure. See you tomorrow. Charity shop for the win. Primark size 6 polar neck jumper, green, very stretchy, good base layer to cover the wire. I also went to my local fabric shop, and in the remnants box they had the most perfect thing. I went to every charity shop looking for fabrics I could paint, couldn't find a thing, and went to the fabric shop and they had this, which is perfect. It's kind of got that perfect texture, and when I paint over the top of this with some green, I think that'll look really cool. This fabric is fraying like nothing else. Ugh. But I'm going to trim it and hem it, and what I'm going to do is drape it and have the folds so that I can figure out where the kind of holder for the legs is going to be. So I'll trim this to size, and I'm going to sort of do folding around the bottom so that it will have these funny, actually maybe I'll sort of pull it more to the back but leave a few sort of wrinkly bits, and then the legs will kind of come out through the folds. That's the plan. So I will drape this over here and pin it, and then maybe put some little poppers or velcro or something so that I can easily take that on and off. So I do need to trim this down and just hem it, even though I'm not going to probably sew it into any sort of shape, because I cannot cope with this fraying. It's just literally driving me mad already, and I've only had the fabric for an hour. So, but yeah, that was a lucky find actually. That is exactly what I needed. If I'd gone to the fabric shop first, I could have saved myself a lot of messing around, but there you go. Okay, it's Sunday morning. Halloween is on Thursday. I've just done the first side of all the mastic rings to make suction cups on the tentacles. Evie, no sausage. Obviously the cats think that this is the most exciting thing that's ever happened. So I've used a full thing of silicone pretty much, so I need to go to Screwfix and buy some more for the other side. In theory this will be touch dry within an hour. Whether it will be touch dry enough for me to flip these over, I mean they're very lightweight, so I might be alright to flip them over. I'm just hoping that the rings actually stay adhered to the foam. What I am thinking I need to do is probably spray them with a primer before painting, because I don't know how well paint's going to adhere to the silicone, but that's a tomorrow problem. I need to let this stuff cure first and go and buy more so I can do the other side. So that's the progress on the tentacles. I have no words for how tired I am right now. It's slightly devastating. Yeah, most of them are now in a tray. Didn't occur to me that one of the redeeming features of silicone is that it doesn't stick to things, and that includes pipe lagging. So these basically, this white stuff's better, but it takes almost nothing. So the minute I paint these, they're all just going to fall off. Like even just turning them over to do the other side, they're just coming off. I could make them out of clay, but I need this to be light. There's just nothing I can do about it. I need this to be light because of how it's going to be constructed. So I've made the decision that I'm just going to paint them all, and I'm going to probably do like slightly darker dots, and I'm going to just use something that's ring shaped as a stamp and just stamp white rings all over it. Valuable lesson learned: silicone does not stick to pipe lagging. Okay, another update. It's like 11:30 at night. I went through so many options in my head, but what I'm going to do is, well, I've done a rough paint job. Rough because if I'd done it well, all I was going to do was mucky it up again. I'm going to paint the suckers. So I've been looking at photographs of actual octopuses, and I'm going to stamp black circles with white middles, which is the other way round from how I was going to do it, but that's actually how most octopus tentacles look. Once the circles are on these, they will look more tentacly than this, which doesn't look very octopus-like right now. The seats, I've just made them look gross, and I'm not doing the rust yet. I'm going to do the rusty marks when I have finished the tentacles. All the joins are going to get rust running down and all of that jazz. So I do want to stipple some yellow over the top of these, I think, but mostly I want it to look like it's crumbling and rusty and dirty. And so these have got what looks like paint flaking off and kind of mildew blobs. But when I go in with the rusty colour, that really helps as well. So anywhere there's joins, I make it look like there's rust eaten through, and it just works so effectively. I've used it on all of my previous kind of fairground, haunted, cursed fairground stuff. The cat is fascinated by this. 3 times today when I was crouched down painting, she's leapt on my back. Haven't you, you welly? Hello. I haven't figured out the eyes. I've cut a massive polystyrene ball in half. I've got so much, I don't know what I'm doing yet. This is ridiculous. It's Sunday night, Halloween is Thursday, and this is where we're at. I'm too stubborn to give up. I will pull this off. I will do this. Oh God, I'm supposed to have painted the first layer on my dolls. Oh, maybe I'm not going to bed just yet. Evie definitely thinks it's dinner time. Look at you. Look at you. Okay, it's the next day and progress is being made. I just started wandering around the house looking for anything that would be a good ring stamping tool, and I found this stake holding thing. I don't even know, it's something from the garden. I think it goes in the ground and you stand a cane in it or something. I've got no idea. I don't care. It's it's the perfect circle size to make a black ring, and then a small Pritt stick fits inside it. So the two together are working. It's a bit clean and tidy at the moment, but I'm going to weather all this once it's done. So for now, I'm just going through and just stamping little white bits inside. When that's dry, I got to flip them over and do the same on the other side. And because it's damp outside, I can't really do this outside with them. I was going to put stakes in the ground and stand these up so I could paint all around all of them and let them dry. But it's a drizzly day, so I can't do that. But yeah, I am really happy with how that looks. And if I run out of time, I'll just put the legs on so that only these, or tentacles, so that only these ones are pointing forward. But I think it'll be okay. It's not taken too long to stamp all those little O's. So yeah, so relieved that I figured something out for that. So I don't know if that's making them look more octopus-like yet, but time will tell. Okay, so I'm just jumping on doing a voiceover here because the next steps that I didn't actually get any footage of me doing them. So once the tentacles had dried, I went over and weathered them with rust and made them look really even more grubby than they already do. I added rust and fake rivets to the little seats. And then the main thing that needed to be done next was figuring out how to attach the tentacles to the bucket. So my husband helped me with this, and what we did is drilled some holes in the bucket, block of wood inside, and then screwed some dowel rods, like bolted them in. So the dowel rods were coming up at an angle, and each one was a very slightly different angle. Because the pipe lagging has a hole in the middle, I was able to just push them onto that, and they kind of pushed on and gripped quite tightly because the spongy bit where the dowel met the bin would kind of pinch the tentacles. Now, I did have some very small dolls that I put in the seats, and problem was even the small dolls, the weight just wouldn't hold itself up, which is what I figured would happen. So what I did on the night is just use some sticks, just basically some apple tree offcuts, and just kind of stood that underneath just to add a little bit of support. But they are the steps that I did next. So stay tuned for the reveal. Okay, it's been full on, but it's finished. And it looks like an octopus. So many steps I didn't document, but oh my god. This is so cursed, like genuinely. Trying to step back to get it all in. Yeah, the dolls aren't in yet. So I'm out on the front of the house because I've just been painting this. Yeah, I will pin the fabric down a little bit more, and I need to put some weights on the inside of the bin. But thanks to my husband, we've got the legs on, and I'm so happy right now. This is completely bonkers, but I'm so happy right now. I'll show you properly tomorrow in the daylight.